Heinz Coke. Chris, are all of us back on yet?
Mayor Jones, I believe we're just missing one council member.
We are, okay. Just let me know when everyone is present, please.
I will do. Mayor Jones, all the council members are present now.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the City of Ferguson City Council meeting. Our opening ceremony, the meeting is now called to order. Let us stand for a silent prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call. Chris, could you please take the attendance?
Councilman Fry.
Here.
Councilwoman Griffin.
Here.
Councilwoman Burrow.
Here.
Councilwoman Robinette.
Here.
Mayor Jones.
Here.
Councilwoman Lipka.
Here.
Councilman Garrett.
Here.
A quorum is present. As a matter of business, it has been recommended by the city staff to amend this evening's agenda. Chris, would you please provide an explanation for the amendment?
Yeah. Pursuant to Bill 7197, up for first reading tonight, I propose that council allows the city to provide a public hearing for the SUP to operate an automotive used car sales business located at 10638 New Hallsbury Road. In accordance with the requirements of Chapter 49 zoning of the City of Ferguson, the notice of public hearing was set out in advance and the properties adjacent to the location were sent the appropriate letters. It was just a scrivener's error, leaving it off the agenda tonight. So we just recommend adding it back in.
Okay, you have heard the explanation for the amendment of the agenda. I need a motion and a second to approve.
So moved.
Second it.
Who's the first? Councilwoman Fran Griffin, motion, and a second by Councilman Fry. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. The agenda has been amended. Our public comments. The citizens' comments were accepted via email prior to the meeting by Monday, October the 26th at 5 p.m. Chris, do we have any comments that were submitted? And please read them.
We do. We have one. It was submitted by Alan Mueller, and it is, Dear City Council members, I am writing in support of the R. Ferguson Comprehensive Plan that is now in its final review phase. The study is a much needed vehicle to help the city, help unify our city. It gives a voice to the wide array of opinions and viewpoints of the Ferguson stakeholders. This project, initiated by our previous mayor, James Knowles, and continuing during the term of our Mayor Jones. It provides a positive symbol and continuity in our government. Similarly, the initial analysis of process appears to have involved as many residents as possible, and it appears to reflect our community's diversity. If each of our city's strategic plans makes recommendations for 20 years of planning and development, the 1997 plan is definitely due for revision. Further, as described in our R. Ferguson 2040 report, much has changed in our community during the past 23 years. It's definitely time to revise our priorities. The current study emphasizes on equity as much needed addition to our planning conversations. I was originally against the planning study because Ferguson has so many reports that have been filed throughout the years without implementation. This analysis, however, seems different. Forward thought through Ferguson identifies priorities, issues that other communities in our region need to address. The mayor recently announced a task force is poised to provide specific proposals and resources to make things happen. This report provides a bridge between Forward through Ferguson report and our community's efforts at revitalization. It provides a framework, priorities, and catalyst for the next phase of our discussion. The R. Ferguson 2040 report was compiled by trying to engage as many Ferguson stakeholders as possible. It is essential that the commitment continues. The community needs to be provided with sufficient time to review this document. The document is complex. Each section of the report is intertwined with every other section, requiring that each strategy recommended be understood on its own and then compared to other recommendations throughout this document. Many of the strategies themes spark ideas that have not been addressed in this report. The review process is involved and lengthy. It is imperative that the Ferguson community as a whole continues to engage in the process and be afforded the time to fully understand and synthesize the report, analysis, and recommendation.
Mr. Crable, do we have any other comments for tonight?
I did not receive any other comments.
Okay, at this time, staff, you have heard the comment. We ask that you will govern yourself accordingly. Public comments session is closed. The manager's report. Interim City Manager Jeff Bloom, please give us your report.
Thank you very much, Mayor, Mayor and Council, and other attendees. We're going to begin tonight with Chief Hampton, who is going to do two things for us tonight. One, introduce us to our new firefighters, and second, give us a very quick update on our COVID situation. Chief, if you would do so, I'd appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Yes, Mayor, Council, once again, pleasure to be here. I'm going to ask Jeremy Corcoran to share our screen. As you will see, once he gets our screen bigger, you're going to see Assistant Chief Randy Skaggs. He's back with us. He's doing well. I just want to give a little update on him as well. So,
Yay.
yeah, Randy should be back to work very shortly. Just let me know when everybody can see Jeremy's screen. Can you put this, make it so we can share our screen, please?
It's disabled.
I see him.
Okay, so Jeremy's on the bottom right or in the middle. And our first firefighter is going to be Andre Macklin. Andre is a native of South City. He's also known as Mac and started his career with St. Louis City Fire. He's worked 3 years prior as a city EMS. He retired in December 2019, and his goal is to start a new family line of firefighters with his 3 sons. And is very excited to work for the city of Ferguson.
Oh,
Can we see him?
Hey, Jeremy, say something so we can see him.
Introducing firefighter Macklin.
Hi there. Congratulations.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Our next firefighter is Parker Malinsky. And Jeremy, can you show Parker, please?
Introducing firefighter Parker Malinsky.
Hello, Mr. Malinsky.
Parker attended Respond Right and Christian Hospital EMS Academy. He's obtained his paramedic license and in November 2019. Parker graduated from the 109th St. Louis County Fire Academy and has worked for Christian Hospital in the EMS department for 2 years. Parker's also very happy to be working for a great department as we do in the city of Ferguson. Parker Malinsky.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Welcome.
Our next person is John Yee. John, Jeremy, if you could please say something so they can see John, please.
Introducing firefighter John Yee.
Hello, firefighter Lee.
John, with his family, are originally from Houston, Texas, but now lives in Missouri for a majority of his life. John has always wanted to be a firefighter since the age of 13 when he started Fire Explorers with St. Charles City Fire Department until he was 18. He then volunteered with the Warren Fire Protection District in 2007 when he was hired there full-time in 2015. In December 2019, John was hired with City of Ferguson Fire Department, and he is also extremely proud to be part of the Ferguson Fire family. John Yee.
Welcome, John.
Welcome.
I think we could create a best-selling calendar with all these good-looking firefighters we have, men and women.
There you go.
Where do you see the next one?
His name, and our next one is Luke Ezel. All right, Luke.
Look.
So if we could say your name, please.
Introducing firefighter Luke Ezel.
All right, Luke grew up in St. Charles and went to Francis Howell Central High School. He's engaged with his first baby on the way, which should be almost right now. He comes to Ferguson from Christian EMS, where he worked out of the House One as a paramedic firefighter, or paramedic, I'm sorry, with Christian. Luke is very happy to be part of the Ferguson Fire family as well. Luke is out.
Luke Ezel.
Welcome.
Congratulations.
Welcome.
Welcome.
And our last gentleman is Sean Reynolds.
Introducing firefighter Sean Reynolds.
Hello, Mr. Reynolds.
Welcome.
Sean Reynolds was born in St. Louis at DePaul Hospital. Sean is here with his father tonight and Gail Burns. He went to Hazelwood East High School and he graduated with an athletic scholarship to play basketball at Graceland University. After he broke his ankle, he came back and wanted to become a firefighter. He went to St. Louis County Community College and became an EMT. He is also working on his paramedic license currently, and he is very blessed to be part of the City of Ferguson Fire Department.
Welcome.
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 That's our new 5 firefighters. and all of them have graduated in the 109th St. Louis County Fire Academy class. So,
Wow. Woo.
Yay!
Congratulations. Thank you for coming on.
Yes.
thank you.
5.
Yeah, so you guys are safe to go now, and then I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys my COVID update. I'll let them get out of the room.
Are we keeping it a secret from them?
Yeah. No, it's bad. No. So as you guys all know, COVID is up. It's not up just locally, it's up nationally. This past weekend, we've had one of our almost biggest spikes in hospitalizations and visits to the hospital nationwide. Right, currently, we are at 106 positive locations in the city. We had 83 the last meeting when we reported. As a city department, or as a city employee base, we are pretty blessed right now. We only have 1 or 2 that are out and they're quarantined for possible exposures. They are not currently with COVID. So we are doing things correctly in our city buildings, and we're taking the proper precautions to keep our employees safe. All city buildings are getting sprayed at least once a week. Public Works continues this practice and will continue until COVID's over and past that probably. Also, working with Jason, Chief Armstrong from the police department, we both have disinfectant bombs that we can use in case a policeman or firefighter does get infected. We can immediately take that car or truck out of service and get rid of all the bad stuff that we need to with these disinfectant bombs. As we also know, St. Louis County on Wednesday of the 14th opened up our easy restrictions. So bars, I believe, are still be able to be open until 10 o'clock at night with 50% occupancy. I don't know if this will be a trend of maybe going back. I would imagine if our numbers keep increasing, they're going to have to do something. So, and I know with the election coming up, there's going to be long lines. Please, everybody out there, keep your space. Please, that's going to be very important at this time of year, and make sure you have a mask on when you go to vote. That's pretty much all I have, Mayor and Council. I would take anybody's questions if you have any. Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, John. And just a reminder to be very vigilant.
Yes, sir.
I have just a couple other items for the council. Wanted to update everybody in terms of, I know we've talked a number of times about our housing restoration program, and I think we've finally resolved our issues, and we believe that we now have St. Louis County's year, and so we can move forward with that program at this point in time. What I would like to do is forward you information tomorrow to get your input if anybody has any concerns or wants additional information, or to have any kind of a work session to discuss the program. Be more than happy to do that. It's not complicated, but it is really broken up into 2 different pieces. There's a piece that we have focused on contractors or commercial entities and their needs and desires are different than a homeowner who is going to just take one particular home and renovate that. And so we've made 2 separate processes. So I'm going to send them out one at a time so that you can keep them separate.
Is this the program that FNIP had worked on and created, and then you guys kind of took it from us?
Well, I don't, Councilwoman, I don't know the answer to that question. I don't think so. I think this is the one that goes back. You'll recall that a couple of years ago, Kelly was trying to get this off the ground as well.
Yeah, this is the one. So Kelly was working with FNIP, and so as an organization and Kelly, we partnered to develop all of the wording and all of the guidelines and all of the different areas. And we spent many of our FNIP meetings discussing the logistics and the politics of it, the logistics of it, the strategy of it, the integrity of it. And we created it, and then Kelly put it together, and we were ready to move it forward into council. Then things changed and everything moved along. And then it became, I guess it was after the mayor became the mayor, that it was decided that the city would take this on and FNIP would not be doing it anymore. But yeah, if everything's still the same, it's an awesome program.
Well, I can tell you that we were working on it before Mayor Jones.
No, we were too.
Okay, and
I
I
had
know that.
nothing to do this.
No, I'm not saying that you did. Or Mayor Jones had anything to do with it. I'm saying that at the time of a new mayor coming on, that being i.e. Mayor Jones, that's when the project was given to city staff instead of FNIP.
And recognize everybody that we did have a little bit of a stumbling block with St. Louis County as well. And I don't know that others still don't have that stumbling block, but I think we've prevailed upon them to recognize that, that this is a program that's very worthy of their support. So I'll be sending that out in the next day. The other thing I wanted to apprise you of, or second thing I wanted to apprise you of, is with respect to the business grant program that we were authorized to begin and appropriated $250,000 out of the Economic Development Sales Tax Fund at the beginning of this fiscal year. And unfortunately, we've had a very low subscription rate. We've actually had two candidates that have actually received funds, $5,000 each. We've had 3 rejected, and we've got 4 in various stages of completion. And we've not been extremely aggressive in working those 4 applications, because it certainly appears to us that there's not as much enthusiasm for this. I don't know if it's a matter of too much work for too little dollars, but what we would like to do, and I'm going to send you information on, is we're suggesting that we raise the amount from $5,000 to $10,000 per applicant. Number one. Number two, the other thing is we're not going to require that they demonstrate that they've already sought assistance from another source. And then number three, what we are looking for someone to do is to prove to us in some manner or fashion that they have actually had a 20% decrease in revenues before. So we didn't do either of those. First of all, it used to be $5,000. Second, we used to require them to demonstrate that they had sought funds from another source. And then third, we had not looked at revenue erosion before. So what I would like to do is send that to you. And if there are any questions, please ask. If there's additional information needed, please ask. If someone thinks that we need to have an extended discussion about this, then let's have that discussion.
Jeffrey, are you at the position right now to say, if they wouldn't go for the smaller amount of money, and you're going to give them more money, and you're using the reasoning being that maybe people don't want to work for that small amount, I'm inclined to think right now, much given, much required. And so will you, in what you're sending out to us, will you include the reasons why the ones that were turned down, and why that is so laborious for those 4 that are hanging out there and have not been approved? What's the reasons? Because that would make me understand why you would give more money if they're not getting it at the lower rate. So, because this is almost like a grant, really. And if you're giving away donors' money and taxpayers' money, we ought to want to know the reasons why.
Sure, absolutely. Can do, will do.
And I would also ask 2 things. Maybe, okay, one's a comment in the sense that I know that there's probably, I don't think we've done enough advertising, so to speak, of this. I don't think we've been loud enough in the community. Maybe we have and so forth, but I do think that there is an opportunity to reissue the invitation to the community. And even if it's a matter of having somebody pick up the phone and call businesses, hey, one-on-one, it couldn't hurt. And it might be a great opportunity for us to gather more pertinent information on our businesses, because we really need a database on that as well. But the other thing I would say too is, why are we going either or? Why can't we possibly offer a $5,000 amount and a $10,000 amount? I know it adds paperwork, but at the same time, you know, let's look into that opportunity.
I think, Ms. Lipka, I think that you're absolutely correct. And I would say also, Jeffrey, that get one of the folks that write grants onto this, and maybe it's just a simple thing. People don't understand what they got to do. Sometimes if you get somebody that is versed in grant writing, it's a 1, 2, 3 for them. So we got people on staff, or we got people on the council, or anywhere that would be willing. I'd be number one willing to assist these businesses in getting that money. I'd be the first to step up.
Okay. All right. Why don't we do this? Why don't we circularize this information, and you can see firsthand some of the items, because I've seen a list on a couple of the folks that are in a work in process, and you know, we're not asking for a ton of information, but we are asking for certain things like making sure that they actually have a business license in the city.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, things like that. I know that sounds simple, but you know, and asking, making sure they got a W-9, making sure that they're in good standing with the state, you know, that they've paid their taxes, and
Jeffrey, you're right on for that, because what would seem like things to us like that's automatic. Some people don't know. Yeah, you and I, what we've done with the 501(c)(3)s and the nonprofits. Some people don't know that if you're versed in what you're doing, you can get those things over the phone and with a 5-minute conversation if you got the right phone number. So maybe if it's just those things, I would hate to see somebody that needs the money not get it because they think it's too hard.
Me too. So let's take a look at it, and let's see what everybody's got to say for it or about it. I've got just one other thing, because Elliot and Bailey have been very busy, amongst other things, working on a business retention and expansion program as well, which really kind of starts with the fact that we don't have enough information about our businesses. And this kind of goes back to the grant program as well, in that we solicited or provided through an email blast the information about the grant program. And so what we're actually going to do is physically send something to every single, it's really Bailey more than anybody else. And what Bailey's going to do is send these people a real live piece of paper that says, please respond. Here's the information we'd like from you, etc. So that we can, and what are your needs? What are your concerns? Because we think we know what they are, but until you tell me what they are, I don't really know what they are. So we're going to do that as well. So I will send that out to you as well, so you can take a look at that.
One last thing, Jeffrey, did you get the one from Sam Page? That same thing that he sent out?
I've not seen anything, no ma'am.
Okay, I'll bring it over to you. I'll bring it to Bailey and let Bailey see it.
Be
Because he
great.
sent all the businesses as well.
Good, great.
Question, Jeff.
Yes, ma'am.
Were any of the applications that were submitted and rejected, were they rejected based off of, you know, anything that it's now made them qualify for it?
I don't know the answer to that question, ma'am.
Okay.
But we'll
Because I just was wondering, like, if it was something like somebody had already received money from somewhere else and that was the reason for the rejection, like if they would now be eligible to actually apply.
It's a great point. I don't know the answer to that question, but we'll dig it up and include that with the rest of the information. Okay. And Madam Mayor, that's all I have.
Jeff, I'm just going to add one more thing. When you send that out, to your point, even if you sent money, if someone has gotten money, you still need to know that for your database. So it's not going to be held against them, but it's always good when you're giving away money to know who else is seated in.
Great idea.
Okay, that is a requirement on most donors that give out money. So you need to keep that in.
Okay. I agree. Great idea. Thank you very much. And that's all I have.
Okay. Thank you, Jeff. At this time, we have two special presentation. Chris, are they on? One is Refugee and Restoration and J.W. Park Veterans Memorial Update.
I do see Gigi and the Refuge Restoration Program both are in the meeting.
Okay, great. Okay, Gigi, you are up next, and welcome to the Ferguson City Council.
Thank you, Mayor Ella Jones. We appreciate you having us on tonight. I am going to let Pastors Ken and Beverly Jenkins discuss the Refuge and Restoration Project in Delwood. Chris, I believe they will have access to share the presentation.
Yes, I just made them hosts, so they're able to share their screen, and when they're done presenting, they just have to send host back to me.
Wonderful. Thank you all.
Sounds good. It's good to be on here with everybody. We'll make it short and quick to give you the chance to ask any questions you may have. So I'm gonna go ahead and share our screen now.
I want to say congratulations to Ella Jones too as well before I read it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, can everybody see our screen?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll just a little background, and I don't know if you guys know much about the project that we've been working on. It's really, our desire as we, work and many of our church members live in the community, family member in the community, is that it's a 5-pillar project, and we'll kind of walk through it really to provide equitable access and create opportunity and build capacity within people. Our background has been, both of us been involved in workforce development over 25 years and been pastoring for a little bit over 15 years. And then we've been in community engagement work probably, in excess of 25 plus years as well. And so we'll just kind of run through this quickly. The vision is to create this marketplace, which will provide this equitable access. The goal, we're on track to open in fall 2021. And that's that old Springwood Plaza that's in the center of Delwood, what used to be the Snooks, have the Snooks Plaza there as well. And so just some of the highlights of the project as we run through this. It's about 90,000 square feet in that particular center. The total investment in the project is about $15.8 million. And that complete development of 5 pillars. And those pillars will actually consist of an early childhood learning center, workforce development center, innovation center, which is our co-working space. And we're working with CIC. And then we have a bank partner. Then also our multiplex, church multiplex, which will house all of our community partners as well. And we'll kind of go through that. We're excited about the job creation aspect of it as well. Within the first 12 months, there's about 100 jobs that'll be created in the marketplace. And within 5 years, we're talking about 2,000 jobs created directly and indirectly throughout the marketplace. And so, it'll definitely be a part of, and we're excited about all the development that's going on in the corridor. And it'll be a part of driving positive economic impact and job creation, which is really kind of one of the focuses here. And I'll kind of go through this quickly. We've been blessed to really develop some neat partnerships with folk like CIC out of Cortex, Gateway Global, Jobs for Life is a workforce development piece that we use, Life Arts also, which does arts and theater. And we'll have the ability there to partner with our local high schools and also colleges. We're also working with Loom, which is out of Stephen Swallick's Early Childhood Learning Center in Youth City, Rung, and just a few St. Louis Regional Chamber, MyTech. We're also doing some work with Health and Homes. And then on the development side, Summit Development Group is our developer. And then we have working with our tourists, also Lou Brock Mechanical, and again, the County St. Louis Economic Development Partnership as well, just to name a few. And so there's also health partners we're working with, which is really kind of a focal point. You've probably seen, I think Behavioral Health Network was just on KSDK this past week, talking about just the behavioral health issue. And so we'll be partnering with them. Dr. Kanika Turner, which is a huge advocate concerning the opioid crisis that's taking place in our community. We've been working with her. Fit and Food, Dr. Fred Rotnick as well. He works in that space. And then also Provident Behavioral Health, and then our ARCA, which also is in the opioid addiction space, in which they're working to help people in the recovery process. And so those will be some of our community partners that will work out of the multiplex. And then we have, non-affiliate. These will be entities that lease space there, and have a medical training institution that'll be there. We're still in negotiations to bring in a restaurant. The dialysis center that's there will stay. We're still determining who the bank partner will be. We could potentially have 2 banking partners. And then also we're talking about providing some type of community health care. We really want to look at that from a different perspective. So we've been in discussions with that as well. And so, Pastor, if you want to share a little bit more about that, about the collaborative partnership.
Sure. So when we were talking about the 5 pillars, we just want to kind of give you a little bit more, I guess, with each pillar. So the Early Childhood Learning Center, what we've done is we have attached an expert to every pillar that's inside of the makeup of what we're proposing to bring to the Springwood Plaza. We're calling it the R&R Marketplace. We've been working on this for about 5 years now, and have amassed great collaborative partners that have come alongside us to be experts in every single area that we are embarking on taking on within this project. So inside of the multiplex, you probably can't see that because the writing is really small for me too. So I'll just name it as I can. But inside of the multiplex, so you can picture it, inside of the Ocean Plaza is where we're going to house what we're calling the R&R multiplex. And that's fine. Thanks. So we're housing inside of the multiplex all of our what we're calling community partners. And inside of the community partners, what we're going to do is actually have BHN will be inside of the multiplex. Fit and Food will be inside of the multiplex. They'll be doing healthy food options inside of there. They'll be doing cooking classes, instruction in health and nutrition, but then also in exercise, just doing a lot of collaborative inside work. So it's almost like a community place that's an open space also for our Dalewood and Ferguson along the whole corridor. Really is what our hopes are. That's the mission of this particular area, is to house that kind of the theater arts, to bring in plays, to allow. We also have a partnership that we're working on with the Black Rep, where they can bring in artistry with life arts, just different things that we can bring into the community that will be things that our children and all of our kids can benefit from. Also inside of the Employment Training Center, we have our partnership, of course, with Jobs for Life, which is a job partnership that we've been working with for almost 28 years and has a 80% success rate in placing people in the employment field, actually getting them jobs. Our goal inside of the Employment Center is to actually put in what's called career pathways. Right now, the career pathways that we're working on are healthcare, technology, geospatial, and then also in the construction field. And we have partnerships in all 4 of those areas so that we can actually work on placing people in those employment career pathways. The Entrepreneur Center, Ken already mentioned that we have an association with CIC out of the Cortex area. They are just great partners with us. They're working to give us access to intellectual property. They will not run the Entrepreneur Center. It will be grassroots community based. The Entrepreneur Center will, the co-working space, but they are offering us. We want it to be just as nice as what you see in CIC in the Cortex area. So it will be as innovative, as beautiful, as manicured, as what you see in that location as well. I don't think there's anything else to add to those at all. Yeah.
Any specific? So I'm just running through these for the same time.
Yeah.
But one of the things too, when we talk about early childhood, and you guys know when people go through job training, particularly single moms, one of the challenges getting through this stuff is childcare and the kids. And then a lot of ladies will get jobs and can't keep them because of lack of childcare. So this will be, we're really excited about the wraparound opportunity to provide that support system to single moms or single dads who have children and need to know that their children are safe, they're provided for. Also, what we'll do here is while they're going through the classes, there will be no cost to them for their children while they're going through the training, during those hours that they're in the classes. So if they've got a 2-hour class or whatever it is, they'll be able to bring their children and not worry about who's going to keep the kids. So we want to make sure we remove the roadblocks so people can have success. Two, with the R&R multiplex, one of the things that we've seen is the people who succeed are those whom you build community around. And so one of the advantages of having our church there in that multiplex with our community partners is that not only we'll go through training and classes, but we'll get to walk. It won't be you finish and we don't see you anymore. What we want to do is community around people to really help build capacity where they're not just getting entry-level jobs, but they're getting sustainable wages where now people began to provide for their families, send their kids to college. And so we've seen this over the years many, many times. Jobs for Life is actually a global organization that we've worked with for years. And so we're excited about that possibility where we can leverage relationships that we have in the church to be able to build community around people so be successful. Of course, banking is necessary in our community. We know about the payday loans. And so we want to provide options for folk, financial literacy, where they don't have to look to payday loans and high interest, entities.
So micro lending too for entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
We have a lot of entrepreneurs, which you all already know this in our community, that just they need funding sources. So some of the banking partners that we want to bring in are specific, just like most banks have a niche, they have specifics. Like a lot of times we're asked the question, like, why do you need more than one bank? Well, other communities have options. We want options as well. And so those banking centers have different proponents that they will offer. So one of the components is micro lending for small businesses so that they can have the sustainability they need to make the business actually work. So they're not 3 years running in negative, but they actually have the ability to be able to get that business off the ground and it really be successful. So that's the goal there.
Yeah. And we have an agreement with the Regional Business Chamber also. So they have programming and accelerated programming to provide funding and also training. One of the neat features about the Entrepreneur Center and co-working space is that the goal is to build capacity with these businesses where they go from maybe a one-man shop to hiring 2 or 3 people. And so we want to build capacity around 100 entrepreneurs. And then and we're talking about yearly, and then folk will be able to continue to build those businesses. New entrepreneurs come in, creating jobs, but also building wealth in the community. Because you know that if you have a business and it grows, now you have something that you can pass along to your friends. And so one of the neatest things and why business people have kind of connected with us, we did some work with WashU on this project. It's fully sustainable within 18 months, which literally means that once it's up and running, this project does not need ongoing fundraising to make it work. So within 18 months, any money that we're raising actually is reinvested back into the community and the people, and it builds capacity within the people. So we get to help more people. We get to pour into more people. And that's one of the things that's attractive about this. This is self-funding, fully sustainable within 18 months. And we work with WashU and St. Louis University.
Summit Development.
Yeah, and Summit Development Group, where we did all of our financial analysis, customer analytics, and so forth, our pro forma. And so just really excited about the opportunity. Work with target population. We know what population we have in our community, but it's really to create access to people in the community who may not have normally gotten access. I won't run through all of these numbers for sake of time. Capital campaign phase 1, we're doing this in phases. And so this is what phase 1 looks like here. We've raised a good amount of money for phase 1, and then we are looking to start that soon. And so development will begin. And so again, we're looking to be in by probably fall, late summer, fall of
We're still
2021.
working. Yeah, we're still working to close a small gap, and then once we close that small gap, then we'll begin the finishing the process of phase 1.
And so, and last point, and we want to give you guys a chance to ask any questions that you may have. We're excited about the synergy too along the corridor. You know, there's been some great development, and what we realize with all of this, and just talking to business people, you know, everybody's looking at North County and our community, and you keep hearing people talk about this underserved community, but this workforce that's in the Black community that has not been identified, particularly when we talk about geospatial and IT in these areas. This will help us along this corridor really build capacity, because alone, none of us have the ability to train and prepare the amount of people that's needed in the St. Louis area. So when we're talking about this unidentified workforce in the Black community, we have a lot of talent and a lot of skill set. So with us all working together along the corridor, we're excited about the potential and opportunity to prepare more people, to build more capacity, and really provide opportunities in this geospatial and IT, trades, healthcare arena that there's huge demand for. And so those are some of the things that business people and some of the business leaders are excited about, because there are jobs here in St. Louis. It's just a matter now of getting people prepared for those jobs. And so we want to go ahead and let you guys ask us any questions. I'm gonna go ahead and unshare so we can see you guys and give you an opportunity to ask any questions that you may have.
Are there any questions? If none, we would like to say thank you.
I have a question.
Okay.
I just want to applaud you for what you're trying to do. Fantastic. And some accolades on with the pandemic. It doesn't seem like it has caused you to lose any momentum. What I want to know is that you tell us that this is an art form. And, you know, when I saw R&R, I was thinking rest and relaxation. But listen to what you're doing. No, it's a whole lot of muscle going into this thing. So, but what I'm concerned about, I didn't see anything about MFH. I didn't see anything about that. And they got a ton of money. They got $50 million in reserve. And no word did I see on your presentation that you went to them to get some of that money. The other thing I didn't say, you're going to have this, you got these big school districts. You got Hazelwood, you got Ferguson, Flushing, you got Jennings down there to contend with the development for young people. They got that. I mean, I'm telling you, I work with those organizations and they got that down to a niche. So when you got that going and they're getting money from DESE, I didn't see you say anything about DESE. And I didn't see you say anything about RAC. Where the art commission at? Where is that money coming from? And I've come from the Olin program. So I've gone through the Olin program, and a great program. You're doing good there. But all these other folks that are sitting on cash, waiting on you to come get it. And we all know, I'm just going to put it out there, madam, you could get that money because they'll give it to you. And we'll talk about that on a separate thing. But I'm concerned that if you're going to do something artsy, that you don't have the art commissions involved. I didn't see them anywhere. I didn't see DESE for the young, didn't see MFH. Tell me, and I know that this can work because West Los Angeles Church, they started off with a dream like you.
Yeah.
Have you been there to see Bishop Blake? I belong to that church. They own the whole thing.
Yeah.
So everything you're doing, they already did. So you know it can be done. However, they have all these people that I just named. And I'm concerned that I want to know why you didn't go to those people that I just named.
I think the thing is, and what we would like, a lot of it too, is sometimes not having the relationships of knowing all the people. We've got a lot of relationships, but we would love to make connections with those folk. particularly like we've done a lot of work with the folk who are doing new market tax credits and state tax credits and those other buckets of money. But MFH you're talking about and the Arts Commission, we would love to be able to connect with them. One of the things that we've really tried to do here is make sure we build great collaborative partnerships. And
well,
so,
you just hit right there. You just hit right there because RAC just announced their new president today, and they would love to talk with you. I know MAC would love to talk to you, but one last thing I want to talk about is you said, and you should put this in writing, 2,000 direct and indirect people are going to be hired. Now, I've seen that on paper before, and here's what happens. I would like to see how many direct, because all the people that you talked about, 2,000 could be indirect if you don't name them out. That last sheet, I was trying to count them numbers. You got some people like Fran and Robinette and Linda. We're gonna look at the numbers. You got a guy sitting down there with those glasses on, 2 of them that I can see. Got a hand up his face. And, you know, he's the bean counter of the group here. And so if I'm saying it, I know he's thinking it. So
we want you to count them. We do. We
do.
We
need to count that because that could be the game changer.
Yeah.
Because that right there is all beautiful on paper. I trust you, you God's folks. I mean, I'm going to be praying for you. So the bottom line is that looks good on paper, but I'd like to see those numbers divvied out. So this is a suggestion to you. You can go past some of that other stuff because you talk real well. It's those numbers that you want us to see.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, Stephen, do you think the same thing? Jeff, do you think the same thing? Am I saying something wrong?
No, that's good. And we have an organization. So one of the entities we're working with is Smith and Associates, who handles all of our new market tax credits. So we have to have those numbers spelled out in order to get new market tax credits. So that's been done. We absolutely have that. Same thing with state tax credits. And so they wouldn't even talk with us if we didn't have it all spelled out and they could see the sustainability and how these numbers are created. So no, we didn't pull them out of the air. We can definitely show you where they come from.
Yeah, but you got to understand, for people like us, I understand what you got to have, but even those numbers can be made pretty because that's my job. That's what I do. I make numbers look pretty. So that's why I'm concerned for you. Show those numbers at the end. Okay. Thank you so much for being here. And I'm looking forward to you being over there because it's going to boost us as well.
Yeah, we appreciate that. We thank you for the insight. That's always helpful for us. We take all the counsel we can get.
Yeah, all counsel. Whatever, like the organizations you mentioned, we would love introductions. We would love to be able to connect with them because we want to connect with everybody, and particularly.
Okay, well, we can put you at the top of the list. You won't have to call a number and get an answering machine. So get in contact with us. We would love to see you make those introductions, and I'd be more than happy to introduce you to everybody I just named.
Okay. We would appreciate.
We would love that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for your presentation.
I do have a question, Mayor.
Okay, Linda.
So, I'm sorry. In regards to all of the things that you're doing, I totally impressed. The question I do have, and it's not to be anything negative, but there seems to be some repetition of services within that corridor. And that's what I wanted to ask you about, in the sense that the repetition of, we've got the Boys and Girls Club that just opened up, and we've got, different things like that. So explain to me the thought process behind that, because I'm sure you're completely aware. And if you're working with Health and Home, you know that we're working with them as well on projects. So kind of address that for me, if you don't mind, because I'm sure there's citizens who are noticing that as well.
Sure. I think really the issue is capacity. So for instance, when you talk about job training, the average job training class probably will host about 10 to 20 people max. Usually they'll do that a few times per year. And when you start talking about skill training, that's longer. So it's not a 4-week program. So when you start talking about training someone in geospatial or IT, you're talking about anywhere from 12 to 20 weeks. You're only going to get to do that maybe 3 or 4 times a year. So when you start really looking at capacity, one entity by itself can only train so many people. And you're going to have thousands of jobs, particularly in geospatial. So one of the neat things is, particularly if you look at what the Urban League is doing right down the street, they'll have people graduating that'll need access to opportunities that we may have an open door to. Vice versa on our side, we'll train people, and maybe the Urban League has relationships we don't have that we can send down there. So we're excited about how we'll be able to build capacity. Same thing with banking. Some banks specialize in just home ownership. Others specialize in entrepreneurship or just what happens in our community. What usually happens in our community, we only get one of everything. But if you go to Clayton, they got 10 banks on the same street. They got all kind of stuff. Well, why can't we have that here? Because we're not competing. What we're trying to do here now is build capacity so we can have a community that looks like what we see in West County. So the Boys and Girls Club, they got young people, but they don't have access to all the training opportunities. The people will work with them because they're the Boys and Girls Club. But we have relationships that want youth, like the geospatial industry. They want to train young people. And so right out of high school, if they're 16, 17, 18, there's opportunity for training where these kids can finish and start working, making 50, 60, 70,000 a year without a college degree. So we have a lot of synergy together in this corridor that if we work together, we can do some phenomenal things, because transformation will not happen unless we work together. I think everybody in North County in our community is tired of just a bunch of programs. We want to see real transformation and change in our community. And we have the ability, if we think big, that we can do it. And so to answer your question, we are happy that everybody's in this corridor working and trying to make a change, because by ourselves, it'll be the same thing 10 years from now.
Well, and from what you said, what I can envision, I've been thinking big long before I got on city council.
Okay.
And so I'm loving what I'm hearing. So, and my brain is sparking like pistons right now with my thoughts along with what you're saying. But what I'm hearing too is, like you were talking about, those moms that are taking class and they need some daycare or night care for that matter. And they're in that. But then you've got those parents who also need the classes, who kids are too old for that. Well, now you can partner with Boys and Girls Club. Maybe they can go over there and do some programs there.
Right.
And the geospatial headquarters, national headquarters, is in the process of being built. So there's lots of opportunities there, which I have some connections. We can talk about that. We can start building that. And then you've got Heather Robinette on this council, who has all kinds of AT&T background, and she's huge, and she can do things that's amazing. I mean, there's a lot of talent on this council that goes in all different directions that can benefit this project. And I have no problem putting energy into your project, as long as I know that this project is putting energy into Ferguson's projects on either side of you.
Yes.
So as long as we see that synergy, as you said, going down the road from one highway to the next, I'm good with it. But if we get stuck in one area, then we're going to have to get unstuck.
Yeah.
And something I'll add as we leave and get off, let you guys get back to your meeting. The lady that mentioned about Bishop Blake's church in California, what they've been able to do, and also the gentleman up in Chicago, and even here locally, Friendly Temple, what they've been able to do. One of the things that happens with us being pastors and being in a community and people know us in a church, it's a trust factor. So we have the ability to leverage that and really lead people into these opportunities without getting very much pushback from the community. We all know you can bring programs and dollars into a community, but if the people don't show up, it means nothing. And so we have the ability to bring in hundreds and particularly thousands of people because of who we are as pastors in the church presence, because we know in the Black community, the first place that everybody goes when they need help is the church. And so we have that ability to be able to leverage that. And that's really exciting, because people like Bishop Blake, like the lady said, they've proven it works, and in other places in Chicago as well. And so we're just privileged and humbled and honored to be in a position to be able to do this. And so our whole focus is to work with everybody along the corridor, all the families and communities, because we live here. We live in Florissant. Our family lives in Dalewood, Ferguson. Our church members, probably 85 to 90% of them live in the Ferguson, Dalewood, Jennings area. And so we're just super excited about the possibilities.
And I would also
I'll tell you as well, Michael lives in Ferguson. And so Friendly Temple, he lives right across the way there, and he would be more than happy to sit down with you and discuss ways to do what you're doing.
We'd love that.
Love that.
We welcome all of that. Yeah. Everything that Linda has shared too. We welcome all of the council. We're sponges.
Well, and I would also say, let's not limit ourselves to any one type of church. I mean, we have, we have so many different churches here. I mean, Ferguson has got churches on just about every corner. If you look close enough, there's a church there. And, utilizing all of them and integrating all those perspectives. I think in this America, we need to start just saying America and church and community and take all the prefaces off of it.
Have you made your presentation to the Ferguson Ministerial Alliance?
No, I haven't.
Okay, I need to get your information. I'll invite you.
Okay.
That's a place where there's like 52 pastors involved. I've been in it for over 15 years, close to 20 years almost. So I would be more than happy to introduce you. You give me your information. I'll get it from Jeff, and I'll send you an invitation. We meet every month on a Tuesday. I'll get it to you.
Okay. Thank
Sounds
you.
good. Thank you.
We appreciate that. Thank you. And just so you guys know too, though, we do have even the Lutheran connection. So through one of our donors. So just to throw it out there, one of the churches also that is has been a big part of what we're doing as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, thank you, Refuge and Restoration pastors.
Thank you.
And I know Mayor Reggie is really excited. He's been working a long time to get that space filled. So thank you. We appreciate you sharing your vision with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate you too. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Dave?
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Council.
Ooh, I like your background.
Well, you can thank my wife for that. I wanted to take a minute. A project was brought before you guys probably going on 2 years ago, as far as the Ferguson Veterans Memorial Project was concerned. Two citizens, Jerry Barbero and Dave Harding, have kind of headed this up. We developed a nonprofit and some other things to get this project going. But basically, there's the memorial on the corner of January and Florissant Avenue that's kind of fell in disarray. It needs repairs, needs a facelift, and there's lots of work that needs done there. To date, Jerry and Dave have raised a little over $41,000 between the two of them. We've had some expenses with some construction documents, bid documents, and miscellaneous things. But basically, they've got a little over $30,000 remaining, and I've been told they have another $6,000 in the wings right now. We just finalized the bid documents, so this project's going to be going out to bid hopefully in the next 30 days. So I wanted to come before you guys and just kind of give you an update where we stand on funds raised, expenses, kind of where we are in the project, because I know it's been a little while. See if anybody had any questions, that sort of thing, and just try to catch everybody up to date before this does go public. Like I said, for the bid process, so that we can start construction hopefully here in the near future. So to keep it short and simple, that's kind of where we sit at right now. Are there any questions?
I'm sorry to tell you, David, but I don't know about everybody else. I barely heard a word of what you said. You just kept going in and out constantly. Anybody else having that problem beside me?
No, I think it's just you.
Okay. Different.
I apologize.
No problem. I'll read about it.
Any questions for Dave?
No, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you for the update. At this time, we have a public hearing. Citizen comments were accepted via email by Monday, October the 12th at 5 p.m. Also, citizens interested in speaking may note in the chat box their interests or use the raise hand feature. Each speaker will be asked to provide their name and contact information. At this time, Planning Director Elliot Lieberman, would you please announce the bill and information about the hearing? You're on mute.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I've put it on the phone so that there's no feedback, hopefully. So, give me a moment here. Resolution. It's a special use permit application by Stacy Hines of Hines Co USA LLC to operate a used car sales facility at 10638 New Halls Ferry Road, subject to conditions. And Mayor, if there's no objection, I have a brief presentation and I'd like to jump right into that.
Please.
Thank you. The applicant came to the city in September. His name is Stacy Hines, and he is in fact on the call tonight and will be available to answer your questions after my presentation. The facility would be operated out of what it was a enterprise rental car building. There's going to be no exterior or interior changes to the building except for signage and resealing and restriping the parking lot. The applicant has over 30 years of experience. His prior position closed, which is why he's looking to move on, and he can speak more to that. Let's see. The Plan Commission met last week, and they voted unanimously after a brief discussion to recommend approval to the council. And that ends my presentations. I'll take any questions.
I do have a question.
Yes.
So I was looking through, and of course, I've got way too many papers around me and I'm fighting with the computer as we're talking. Let me see if I can find it, but it is in the paperwork about this business. And there is a section, and I'm going to try and find it, where lines are crossed out. It's discussing signage. And there's a part where I want to say it's number 4 is actually crossed out. Yep, I'm right. Exhibit 1, conditions of approval, line 4, crossed out, no signage or other marketing materials identifying vehicles for sale can be placed on or in the structure and vehicles that are visible outside the building. Why is that crossed out? Because if we told Complete Auto Body that they could not advertise the sale of, and I know he's a used car sales lot, I get that. But I would think that the signage on the front of the building is enough. I don't want to see, hey, now, and balloons off the cars and things like that. You know what I mean? Do you understand what I'm trying to get at?
Yeah, and that's an excellent question. And actually, in the initial presentation to the Plan Commission, that was not crossed out, and they recommended that this applicant be allowed to do that. The difference being, as you alluded to, this is a used car sales dealership and not an auto body. This is their primary function. And we're not talking about balloons. We're talking about a sign on the vehicle or in the vehicle that says for sale. And the Plan Commission felt that it was appropriate that they be allowed to do that because that is their primary function, to sell cars. They're not going to be servicing them. This is not an auto body shop. This is a used car sales dealership. And that's why that's crossed out.
So I'm just going to go out there and say I disagree in the sense, and I'm not to say I don't want them advertising their car, but you've got the sticker on the side. I mean, like when people get out of the cars and you see them every Sunday walking around auto sales areas, and they've got the stickers on the side and that kind of thing. I just, this gentleman has a very impressive background. So, I would kind of defer to what he did with was it BMW that he worked for?
It was
West County Auto Plaza.
Yeah, and so thank you, says the voice from above. I guess what I'm trying to get at is I want to have a certain level of classiness to it. I want it to be very successful. I want it to have a very successful appearance. And I would love to see, see it handled the way he managed his other businesses. And I guess I'm kind of being stupid here then if I say that out loud, because of course he will. I guess I just don't want to ever see anywhere down the road that it starts getting less than professional looking. I don't want us to become like a scene from a National Lampoon Vacation or something.
Linda, it's his job. It's his company. You
I
can't
understand.
micromanage a man's company. If he wants to do that, then let him do it. That's his prerogative. You can't
I can
dictate someone
ask the
else's company.
questions. I can express the concerns and ask the questions. It doesn't mean anybody's going to listen to me. And you're absolutely right. He's going to do what he needs to do. But as a person, I just want to get it expressed that that is my concern, even though I think we're dealing with a man who will understand that concern and will handle it appropriately.
And if I may, I do understand that concern, and it'll be done professionally. One thing that I do have to separate is that this place has been a rental car agency for a number of years. And so people are used to seeing that. If I don't put any materials on the cars, they're probably going to assume that it's still a rental car agency as opposed to a car sales lot. So I'd be more than happy, I keep it classy. I always have. My businesses are run professionally and ethically, and I like a very aesthetically pleasing facility.
See, there's my answer, Byron. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Are there any more questions from council? If not, Chris, do we have any comments that were submitted or any noted interest in speaking by the raised hand signal or in the chat?
I had no comments submitted via email, and there are no comments regarding this topic for the public hearing.
Okay, thank you. At this time, we're going to close the public hearing. We are moving on to our consent agenda. We don't have any minutes for the night, no appointments, no requests. We do have a proclamation, and I will read the proclamation. It's a proclamation proclaiming October as Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Whereas the National Breast Cancer Awareness Month program is dedicated to increasing public knowledge about the importance of early detection of breast cancer and promote treatment can significantly reduce the suffering and deaths caused by this disease. And whereas in recognition of the fact of the mammogram, any and x-ray of the breast is the single most effective method of detecting breast changes that may be cancerous, long before physical symptoms can be seen or felt. Now, therefore, I, Ella Jones, Mayor of the City of Ferguson, Missouri, on behalf of the Ferguson City Council, do hereby proclaim the month of October 2020 as National Breast Cancer Awareness Month throughout the city of Ferguson. Proclaim this 27th day of October 2020. Thank you. At this time, we will have our resolutions. Resolution number 2020-44. Without objections, we are introduced by council members present. Hear none. Attorney Carey, would you please read the resolution?
Yes, ma'am. Resolution number 2020-44. A resolution of the City of Ferguson authorizing an agreement to implement the Show Me Courts court automation software.
Interim City Manager, could you please explain?
Yes, thank you very much, Madam Mayor, Mayor and Council. You'll recall that we've had a number of discussions regarding the the moving on to a separate judicial system or software system that has been created by the Missouri Supreme Court, and that's called Show Me Courts. And that is being implemented across the state. I don't know what where we are in terms of total implementation, I'd say it's probably somewhere around 50% at this point in time. And we're one of the last to begin implementation just because of timing of a number of different factors. This kind of been a slightly moving target over the last 18 months or so. And this is a request/requirement that the Supreme Court has requested of all municipal and county courts that are going to continue operating in the state, is that we do sign this agreement. It simply says we're going to use it and we're going to do a good job. And so they've asked for the signatures of the city manager, the judge, and the court clerk.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there a motion and a second for approval?
So moved.
Second.
It has been properly moved by Councilman Byron Fry and second by Councilwoman Heather Robinette. Chris, could you please call the roll?
Yeah. Councilman Fry,
Aye.
Councilman Griffin,
Aye.
Councilman Burrow,
Aye.
Councilwoman Robinette,
Aye.
Mayor Jones,
Aye.
Councilwoman Lipka,
Aye.
Councilman Garrett.
Aye.
Motion passed, resolution passes. Resolution number 2020-45, without objection, will introduced by council members present. Hear none. Attorney Carey to read the resolution.
Yes, ma'am. Resolution number 2020-45. A resolution of the city of Ferguson, Missouri, accepting the Department of Homeland Security Federal Emergency Management Agency Coronavirus Relief Fund.
Looks like we might be frozen.
She froze?
I can see you, Jeff.
No, the mayor is frozen.
I think we lost it.
Or we lost her.
I think her computer goes out like every time around 8:30 for some reason.
It says I'm tired. I want to go home.
Mm. Is she logging in as a guest on the network and it's got an automatic timeout?
I don't know, council. She's in the council chamber on Wi-Fi.
And she was on the staff Wi-Fi.
Okay, that-
I logged her in, but
There goes my idea.
Can somebody go tip on her?
she did just drop completely out.
Can I ask a question or do we have to wait?
I mean,
You should probably wait.
Yeah.
hey, Chris, could you go and let her know that she's off? Because she might not know she's off. Not off, but be off.
I'm sorry, Byron, I didn't understand what you said. Could you redo that for me, please?
Now, ask Chris to go help let her know she's off, not off, but off the network.
Ah, okay.
Thanks, Chris.
She's coming in right now.
Okay.
Go.
Oh, she's on mute. Oh. You're on mute.
Okay, I'm back in. I don't know why I lose connection. So at that point, we were at Attorney Carey, he read the resolution. Now we are looking for interim city manager to explain. Okay,
Got it. Thank you very much, Madam Mayor, Mayor and Council. I'm actually going to ask our Director of Finance, Lexi Miller, to step in because she knows the details much better than me.
Thank you, Mayor and Council, for allowing me to give you an update on the CARES Municipal Relief Program funding. This resolution is required by St. Louis County for us to, it requires us to have a resolution accepting the CARES funding and allowing for the city manager to accept those funds on behalf of the city. This is basically a step 1.5. They originally said they'd have a step 1 or phase 1 of the application process, and then we'd get that 50% funding. And I know that there's been some news on some of the news stations. They've talked about some of the municipalities that have received their funding. There was a phase 1.5, which required this resolution and 2 other documents. The other documents are already done and uploaded. All we need is this resolution to then be approved for our phase 1, which would give us 50% funding. And the way that works is they will give tomorrow morning, I will submit this resolution and submit for the phase 1.5. Then within 20, we'll get an email probably the next day letting us know that we've been approved. And within 24 hours, we will have a funding document that will need to be signed by interim city manager Bloom, who will then sign that on behalf of the city and on behalf of Mayor Jones to accept those funds. And then we should receive 50% of our funds within about 3 to 5 business days is what they're saying now. And just as an update for everybody on the council, these CARES Act funds that we're getting, we can use those to reimburse the city for public safety personnel salaries and benefits. This is allotted out on a per capita basis. City of Ferguson is eligible to receive $1,458,152 on our application for the grant program we have, or for the disbursement of the funds. We have been able to delineate total salaries and benefits for the time period allotted, totaling $5,223,300. So we know that we will receive 100% of that $1.4 million. So we should receive about $700,000, a little bit over that, within the next probably five days, I would assume, 5 to 7 business days. And then we move on to stage 2, which is to get the other 50%. We will be required to submit substantiation of all of our costs, which would be actually payroll registers, documentation of all the salaries that were paid and the work that was done. So we'll do that. Luckily, a long time ago in a former life, I worked for St. Louis County as a grants manager for their homeless services programs. So I am very familiar with the documentation required for St. Louis County for all of their federal grants and especially for FEMA grants. So I've already started compiling that information that would be required. We have to submit all of our documentation by November 13th, and I don't anticipate that being a problem since I had already started on those documents knowing what would be expected of us by St. Louis County government. And that's all I have. Are there any questions?
I do have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I know that when I was discussing this months ago with the MML director, there was a payback clause that I completely disagree with. Is that payback clause still in this agreement?
I have seen and heard nothing about a payback clause. So I believe that has been removed. Everything I've read, everything that they've talked about, they have a weekly seminar weekly, I guess, webinar every Tuesday. And I've not seen anything about any kind of a payback clause. I guess you would have to pay back if you couldn't, you would have to pay back that 50% payment if you couldn't substantiate those expenses. And that's the only kind of payback I've heard anything about with this program.
Lexi, I checked on that today, and something will be coming out next week we will not have to pay that back. We're not going to be in that group.
No, I know we won't, because I know that we have 5 million in expenses that we can submit for reimbursement.
Right.
So, yeah.
So the answer to her question is we're not in that group. Even if they had it, we're not going to have to pay it back.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there a motion and second for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Council
Don't we need to make
member.
sure we get a
What?
I don't know. Okay. Councilmember Byron Fry passed the motion. It was second by, I think, Councilwoman Heather Robinette was first. There's a second. Mr. Crable, would you please call the roll?
I didn't hear the motion. I don't know if there's something wrong with my machine. I am experiencing some problems, but I'd like to hear the motion. I didn't hear the motion. Please redo.
Is there a motion to approve resolution number 2020-45? Councilmember Byron Fry made the motion. Councilwoman.
Oh, I see what's happening. Byron is talking while you talking. Is that what happened?
No, he's just raising his hand.
Okay, I'm getting double talk back on my machine. I'm so sorry.
Okay, was second by Councilwoman Heather Robinette. We are ready for the roll call.
Councilman Griffin,
Aye.
Councilman Burrow,
Aye.
Councilman Robinette,
Aye.
Mayor Jones,
Aye.
Councilwoman Lipka,
Aye.
Councilman Garrett,
Aye.
Councilman Fry.
Aye.
Resolution number 2020-45 passes. We have bills required for first reading. Bill number 7197, without objection, were introduced by council members present. Attorney Carey to read the bill by title only.
Yes, ma'am. Bill number 7197. An ordinance of the city of Ferguson, Missouri, granting a special use permit to Heinz Co. USA LLC for the purpose of operating a used car sales facility at 10638 New Halls Ferry Road, subject to the conditions, restrictions, and requirements set forth herein.
Interim city manager for an explanation.
Yes, thank you very much, Mayor. Mayor and Council, this is the subject bill of the hearing we had tonight regarding the SUP for Hennesco. And I'd entertain any other questions. Okay.
At this time, no action is taken for the first reading. We have bill number 7198. Without objection, were introduced by council members present. Attorney Carey, please read the bill by title only.
Yes, ma'am. Bill number 7198, an ordinance authorizing the city of Ferguson, Missouri to issue its taxable industrial revenue bond, 10895 West Florissant Redevelopment Area Project, Series 2021, at a principal amount not to exceed $6 million for the purpose of providing funds to pay the cost of acquiring an industrial development project in the city, approving a plan for the project, and authorizing the city to enter into certain agreements and take certain other actions in connection therewith.
Interim city manager, could you please give us an explanation?
Yes, thank you very much, Mayor. Mayor and Council, this is really the culmination of the process that we began probably 5 months ago at least, and for Elliott, it was probably 3 years ago. And you'll recall that back in September, we put forward to the council, and council approved both the formation of the CID as well as entering into a development agreement. With us this evening is the developer, Chad Hagel, as well as the city's bond counsel from Gilmore and Bell, Shannon Creighton, and I'd be happy to entertain any questions.
That's a wrap.
Thank you, Byron. No action is to be taken at the time for the first reading. Bills require second reading. Bill number 7196. We are requesting a motion and a second to read the bill a second time and place upon its passage. We need a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second it.
Okay. Councilwoman Robinette, motion, and Councilman Fry did the second. Attorney Carey, would you please read the bill?
Yes, ma'am. Bill number 7196, an ordinance amending chapter 49 of the zoning code of the city ordinances of the city of Ferguson, Missouri. Minor site plan review.
Interim City Manager Bloom, do you have anything to add?
Yes, very much. Thank you, Mayor and Council. You'll recall that over time, some questions have been asked, and there was a hole, if you will. There was a unintended consequence of our ordinances. That was that you did not have to have a site plan review for a building that was going vertical. That definition really stayed at adding 5,000 square feet to a building. This fixes that. And I'm very pleased with the work that the Plan Commission has done. I did ask Director Leibson to really put this forward to the Plan Commission because I thought it was really their responsibility as much as anybody's to tell us what they thought they should be looking at of a material amount, as opposed to someone trying to come in and say, well, we'll just define it for you. And they've done a great job.
Thank you. Council, do you have any questions? Okay. Chris, could you please call the roll?
Councilwoman Burrow,
I'm sorry. I thought I didn't realize I was on mute. I do have a question.
Okay.
I was talking away to you, Mayor Jones, and I was on mute, so nobody heard me.
You have the floor.
Mr. Bloom, the question I have on this particular ordinance, I mean, I have no problem with the validity and the reasoning of it. I just want to make sure we are not punishing any developers who have built in Ferguson. I mean, I don't know how better to word that, but what I'm trying to get at is we do have a developer that's done some great work and he's gone vertical. I just want to make sure that this is not in any manner detrimental to the contributions he's made to this community.
Ma'am, not at all. Quite the contrary. This is really about let's remember that the purpose of every board and commission is to advise the council. These are hopefully, and in all cases that I've seen, people who have much more experience in their area of expertise than the rest of us, and they have time to deliberate these matters. And I agree with you in terms of every developer that we've had has done really good work.
Right.
Is just to make sure that staff is not empowered to make these kinds of decisions when it really should be a matter for the Plan Commission.
Gotcha. Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Linda. Chris, could you please call the roll?
Councilwoman Burrow, welcome back. Councilwoman Robinette,
Aye.
Mayor Jones,
Aye.
Councilwoman Lipka,
Aye.
Councilman Garrett,
Aye.
Councilman Fry,
Aye.
Councilman Griffin,
Aye.
Councilman Burrow,
Aye.
Bill number 7196 passes. We don't have any unfinished business. Just want to remind everyone we have a closed session tonight, and we'll move on to our miscellaneous session. Councilman Byron Fry, would you share with us about the human rights and the advocacy nominees?
Yes, it's a third annual Ferguson Advocate of the Year nominee presented to City Ferguson City Council. They are St. Vincent de Paul Conference at Blessed Teresa of Calcutta Catholic Church, Miss Latasha Brown, and Dr. Jackie Lewis Harris. These two individuals and organizations have been nominated for this year's Human Rights Commission, or Body Human Rights Commission.
Mr. Fry, or yeah, Councilman Fry, where is the youth nomination? Because when we initially established this award, they were supposed to have a youth nomination.
There wasn't one for this year.
Well, they can nominate somebody.
But the pandemic kind of crushed the whole world, so.
Well, I mean, I hear you, sir, but I do think that there's many capabilities of somebody nominating a youth, and we've got plenty of decent youth in this community. So, I mean, I would like to see a youth nomination added, if you could share that with them.
Not a problem.
Thanks.
Do you have someone in mind, Linda?
The youth that comes to mind immediately, there's actually 3 of them. One of them would be Brandon Papart, and I never say his last name correctly, but he works with our fire department and our EMT. The other 2 that you will recognize their last names would be Claire or Ben Robinette. And I would like to nominate all 3 of them if I could.
Also, Councilman Fry, we have terrific kids throughout the Ferguson Florissant School District. If you were to contact Harold, he could give you a plethora of different areas. I can probably name about 20 terrific kids right now from middle school to high school that could be nominated. I do want to say I agree with Councilwoman Lipka. If you look at some of the things that Ben Robinette has done this year, I think he's up for it. But I do know for certain that if you wanted to, I think we got to stick with what this was supposed to be. We have too many terrific kids not to nominate one, at least one.
I'll pass the information along.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I just would like to share that I sent an email out about Octavia. I think the clerk's organization wants to give her an award. And I thought it would be good if all of us can work together. And because Octavia has done and is doing an outstanding job. And so if each one of us can look at that application and submit 1 or 2 sentences, and I'm looking for someone to volunteer to collect all the emails and compile it, and we'll get together and send it off before November the 15th.
I'll take that assignment.
Thank you, Councilwoman Barbaro. Thank you very much, because I was going to draft you. So thank you. Thank you. That's all I have. Is it anyone else?
I have a couple of things.
Okay.
First of all, we had our meeting last night at the library. I have some information to share. And as usual, I will be sending the council my reports on all of my meetings that I've had. You should get those probably no later than Friday. With the library, we continue to offer enhanced curbside service, which means the curbside service like our libraries are doing already. But we are also making computers and fax machines available to patrons at the front door. We recently made changes to the setup so it's more comfortable if during the cold weather. The library will be closed for Veterans Day. It will also be closed from Christmas Eve through New Year's Eve. Well, no, we're gonna do it. I remember we're gonna do it up until New Year's Day. We have a phenomenal staff over there and who are very flexible over this past year and regularly go beyond the call of duty for the community. It has been very hard for a lot of them this year because there have been multiple deaths in staff, and it was not any of the deaths were because of the COVID. It was just deaths doing their family, and they have gone through a lot. So thankfully, no staff members have gotten the COVID yet. We have 2 positions open on the board right now, and we're very eager to get those filled. If there's anybody that's interested in filling one of those positions, the application is out on the website, the city website, or you can contact Octavia. We have recently hired a new staff member. She's going to be doing the circulation lead. And Joanne, who has been there for over 20 years, has just retired. Want to get that out there. And many of you use the library as much as I do. You might want to drop a card off for her. We'll be getting something over to her. We are getting a lot of activity with our free notary service, especially because of absentee ballots. I mean, it has tripled. So that was a great thing. Everybody's loving that. That's what I have from the meeting last night. For the Ferguson's CRB board appointments, we have a vacant spot. And for the minutes that I have written up for you, council, the council needs a better process for making appointments to the CRB. There have been 4 openings on the CRB since the original 9 members were appointed. And on an average, it takes more than 9 months to appoint each replacement. So 3 of those 4 openings have been filled. The 4th one is still unfilled. The process used to appoint the original 9 members worked well. The CRB task force held a series of meetings to inform the community about the CRB and what its duties and responsibilities would be. Those who attended the meetings were qualified, well, they were considered qualified and were encouraged to submit an application if interested. Approximately 26 applications were received. I recently have revived those and gone over who those people were. So I am going to be calling them individually, asking them if they're still interested. And as you are aware, we have been all this fall going through NACO's training sessions. I've mentioned it many times at some of the neighborhood meetings that we are going to be doing forums on the training that the police officers are receiving. Now that is a consent decree forum that the CRB is supposed to be doing. So this is nothing that we have made up. This is from the consent decree. So we're going to be wanting to do that. And another thing that we talked about this morning was that people need to know the time constraint. When they say yes, this is a very much a working board. It's not every now and then come to a board meeting. And I want those who are willing to be of service to understand what they will be required to do. This is a for real service job. So the council met and we collaborated together to review the applications and decide who the appointment was. That's what we did in the very beginning. So we want to bring this back to the council. We want to be a part of everything that's going on in the city. So we think that to bring the CRB appointments back to the council is where we need to be. Beginning in 2022, the normal rotation 3-year term and term limits require as many as 3 new appointments. So that's why we've been being so robust about this. 2022 will be up on us. Who ever thought that October would be here and gone by now this fast? So I'm telling you, 2022 will be here and gone. The council needs a pool of qualified applicants so that these future appointments can be made in a timelier manner instead of, because this has been too long trying to get one person onto this board. The last thing I have is that maybe the council and the CRB or the CRB task force, which we have, or some combination of them both, can revisit the original process and do something similar to it in order to generate a pool of qualified applicants. And the last thing I have for this evening is that we are having a COP, an SOP. It is a standard operation procedure. It is not a silly thing. It is something that needs to be done. Standard operating procedures need to happen. On the 29th, we're going to be sitting down as a council and pulling that together. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Also,
Go ahead.
also, HRC, we have one member passed away. One got promoted to a new job with Ferguson, so she can't be on the board anymore. And one had to resign. Another one had to resign because of work conflicts. Also, they was asking about different numbers for the boards. Can they go smaller? Because it's so hard to get people on the boards. And also, we still haven't talked about removing people who do not show up. That's been out there for a while. And that's all.
Mr. Frank, Byron, we have language out there that Attorney Carey has worked on that might be able to solve that problem that you're talking about, because it is a problem on all of the boards and commissions. Frankly, I think we have too many of them. We ought to merge some of them, and some of them we really do need to say take it back to the application so that people can understand what they signed up for. So if Attorney Carey, can you get that information back to us? Or I don't know if it's sitting with Octavia right now, that language that we were putting together. Can we all get a copy of that so we can be mindful even on the 29th? That's something that we have to do, because Councilman Fry is right about that. So I think we ought to merge some of these. We have too many. We have as many as the county got.
Mm-hmm. And they having problem filling those.
A lot of problems.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and that's part of the conversation on Thursday too. So Councilman Fry, that would be a really great time for you, if you're present, to help us figure that out.
Yeah, because I think that would work. Attorney Carey, could you get that for us so that Councilman Fry can take a look at that so he'll know what he's up against and what he needs to do?
Yes, ma'am. I think it's sitting with Octavia right now. So I can circle back with her and make sure the council gets a copy of that.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Anyone else?
Mayor, I would just like to let you know that in the FNIP model, FNIP meeting, we are pleased to announce that we have accepted our first application for our Good Neighbor loan, which is a loan/grant. So we're excited about that. And then we are hoping to work on some things regarding the holiday season with the Parks and Rec. So
thank you.
Neighborhood improvement.
Thank you.
I had just one small thing, if I could, Mayor.
Go ahead.
And this was in regards to the comprehensive plan for those of you that are watching that were not watching when we had our comprehensive plan meeting. Within the next few days, we're going to receive information for, how to go about asking questions and submitting questions and looking at the comprehensive plan. That will be given to us by the company that is working on it, and we will have it on the website. Correct, Jeffrey? We'll have it on the website for everybody to be able to easily click on it and go in, actually view the comprehensive plan, ask questions and things of that nature, and be able to provide some feedback if you need to. So we just wanted to make sure that everybody knew that.
Thank you.
Speaking of the website and things like that, did we ever, and if we have, I'd like to have it announced maybe again. Did we ever set up the questions and answers from the town hall? Because I know there's a lot of people that were very disappointed that did not happen the way it was advertised. So I was just, I mean, were all the questions put up there or was it a sampling?
Everything is out on the website. Octavia put it out the next day.
It went the next day.
This is handled
Oh.
at the last meeting. This is all
Okay.
covered at the last meeting.
Well, then that was not in the notes that I received. So thank you.
Okay, and right now we have a closed session. I'm requesting a motion and a second to enter into closed session.
So moved.
Pursuant to 610.201 subsection 12 to discuss contractual matters. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Okay, Councilwoman Tony made the motion. Councilman Byron seconded. Chris, could you please call the roll?
Councilwoman Robinette,
Aye.
Mayor Jones,
Aye.
Councilwoman Lipka,
Aye.
Councilman Garrett,
Aye.
Councilman Fry,
Aye.
Councilwoman Griffin,
Aye.
Councilwoman Burrow.
Aye.
We are now into closed session. We would like to say good night to the citizens of Ferguson. Thank you for attending the council meeting. Good night.
Good night.